Welcome to Bad Jump Destination, hosted by me, the Cryptonomatron. Today we're going to talk about MEV, or Miner Extractable Value. I'm going to try and explain what it is, why it matters, and how we can get around it. So if you're new to this channel, please do give a like, a thumbs up. That really helps the channel grow. Please subscribe if this content interests you, and comment as well, guys. Let's get this community going. Thanks to everybody that commented on the last video about TrueBit. All right, so let's look at MEV. So what is MEV, or Miner Extractable Value? Well, essentially, it's a vulnerability in blockchain. In particular, it's a vulnerability with the Ethereum blockchain. Now, it was first discovered by a pseudonymous analyst and trader who goes by the moniker of P. McGowan, perhaps a reference to Patrick McGowan, the famous actor. He discovered this about 2014 after the Ethereum ICO happened. And he discovered this vulnerability, and Flashboy's paper was issued by some guys at Cornell Tech. They went further into the analysis of it and why it was such a problem for Ethereum in particular. Point of Ethereum is really to be a decentralized computer network. The issue is there are actually areas or points that the Ethereum blockchain is centralized. For example, when a block is mined itself. So the Ethereum blockchain is written by consensus, as we know, each of the nodes agreeing what the actual blockchain is, but miners can decide on the content of a single block. Miners can then decide what transactions to mine on a block, in what order they can be mined, and this gives them a little bit of leverage over users. The miners can actually decide what transactions to process and in what order, and this sets you at a disadvantage. And we've seen this happening when there's a lot of front running going on, and also when there have been IDO launches. In particular, I'm not going to mention any project names here, but it's happened to many projects. There's been a lot of mempool sniping bots being used, and that's one way of guaranteeing that you get the first transaction. But there's also been agreements with miners to mine the first block, and therefore whoever is the beneficiary of that has been able to mine the first block, buy millions of the token straight at launch on the decentralized exchange like Uniswap, and has benefited thusly, being able to sell off the token after that. I recall once when I was trying to buy an IDO launch token on Uniswap, there was what looked like a sniping bot, bought a large amount of the tokens for several $100,000 worth of Ethereum, but looking at the transaction itself, it appeared as if the miner of that block was bribed by the person who eventually bought the tokens, because there was a zero fee for that particular block to the miner. So as we know, the front running issue on decentralized exchanges such as Uniswap has become really a big problem. There are also back running bots as well, the sandwiching, and also mempool sniping is another big issue. When IDO tokens are launching on decentralized exchanges, when the liquidity is added, sniping bots essentially try to get the first transaction because they sense when liquidity is added to the mempool. Now, I've used a sniping bot before. I've only been successful on one or two occasions for very low-key project launches. The bot I was using was Trade Butler bot, and I will link to that below in the description. Again, it's quite a useful tool, but unless you snipe at the very start of the auction, unless you actually have your own node, it's probably not going to be quick enough using QuickNode or another node, Ethereum node provider, to get the first snipe. And essentially the first snipe is what you want, because if you're after that, you're going to pay more for the token, and the person that sniped first might have bought hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of the token, and then will offload them to the retail users. So that's why MEV is such a big problem, or at least one of the reasons. Bots and miners are already profiting from these activities. As we can see, you can look at how many bots. If you use a tool like DEX tools to view transactions on, say, Uniswap, you can see there's a lot of bot activity. So bots and miners can profit from these activities: front running, back running, sandwiching, and even mempool sniping. So MEVs can undermine consensus of a proof-of-work blockchain, for example, and they can threaten the integrity of the blockchain itself. Miners are now selling front running as a service, as I mentioned, picking up these large transactions for people that bribe them or pay them a fee to do so. So they're auctioning off these services. And again, that is not going to benefit the users of decentralized exchanges in particular. So what's the cost of MEV? Well, around $1.4 billion of MEV is being taken from the Ethereum blockchain users annually from a total DeFi market of around $50 billion. So it's quite a significant amount, guys. And global financial markets, to give you an idea, are worth approximately 100 trillion. So in the scheme of things, DeFi is not yet that big, but certainly the amount that MEV takes away from it is quite significant indeed. So what are the solutions to this problem of miner extractable value? Well, you can build in something to the smart contract itself, such as a time lock, encryption, decentralized content layers, fair ordering systems, and you can even incorporate MEV auctions into level 2 solutions. As I mentioned, level 2 solutions now have been actually looking at selling the front running as a service or auctioning it to the highest bidder. So one of the projects that's attempting to prevent miner extractable value is Cowswap. Now, Cowswap from their website is a automatic market maker, AMM, for decentralized exchanges for Ethereum-based tokens, and it's built on Gnosis Protocol. It implements miner extractable value or MEV protection. Cowswap is the first interface that is connected to Gnosis Protocol, so it's sort of like a meme-driven proof of concept, if you like, and it's aimed at enhancing the user experience over everything else. So why is it called Cowswap? Well, Cow stands for coincidence of wants, and that is what happens on the batch layer, and I'll explain that in a second. Let me give you the statistics after 5 weeks of operation. They did over $90 million in trading volume, which is pretty impressive. Over 15,000 separate trades were conducted, over 5,000 distinct traders, distinct users of the interface, and over 1,000 different tokens were traded, which is quite impressive for a 5-week-old project. So Gnosis Protocol is the underlying mechanism, the underlying trading mechanism, sort of like 0x, and Cowswap is the interface built on top of it. There will be many more interfaces built on top of Gnosis Protocol. The next one coming is Balancer, as you can see from the infographic. And mobile wallets, DeFi aggregators, and DAOs can all integrate Gnosis Protocol, so it's very useful indeed. So what is Gnosis Protocol? It is a meta DEX aggregator. That means it's an aggregator of the aggregators itself. So it taps directly into the liquidity of automated market makers like Uniswap, SushiSwap, etc., but also into other DEX aggregators like 1inch and Paraswap. So on top of being a DEX aggregator, it adds another layer, the batch layer, and this is the clever part because transactions on Gnosis Protocol are batched together before being executed on chain. And this means that transactions can be matched without even being sent to the automated market maker, so it doesn't even need to go to Uniswap. If there is a coincidence of wants, for example, with a buyer and seller wanting exactly the same thing, then that can be done without having to use the automated market maker. And also, transactions can be combined into a single transaction. So if there's a lot of similar wants or similar buys or similar sells, then they can be bundled together if you like. This, of course, saves gas fees, saves fees, and also saves on slippage. When you execute a transaction, you just sign and you don't actually pay the fee until the transaction is complete. And the other great thing is the fee comes out of the tokens that you're selling. So you don't even have to have Ethereum in your wallet. So that's brilliant because let's be honest, in many occasions, especially when the fees have been high, we're all worried, are we keeping enough Ethereum in our wallets to sell what we need to sell or buy what we need to buy? That's not a concern. The fees will be taken out of the token that you transact with. Fantastic. To sum up about Cowswap, there's no fees for failed transactions, which I think is the biggest selling point, to be honest with you. There's no Ethereum needed for gas fees either. That is incredible. It prevents front running and sandwiching because of the MEV protection, as I mentioned. And slippage is adjusted depending on user parameters. So you can select the slippage. It will automatically go to the lowest slippage amount. That's another amazing feature. And large slippage will not be affected by the miner extractable value, as it certainly will be on the other automated market makers such as Uniswap and SushiSwap. The other thing is they may have an airdrop in future, who knows, but a lot of these DEX aggregators and, like 1inch, they did an airdrop, and automated market makers, Uniswap, they did an airdrop. So who knows, Cowswap may do one in the future. So I really enjoyed using Cowswap. I suggest you check it out. It's certainly going to save you a lot of fees because I've been using it, for my most common transactions. I've linked in the description below to a lot more informative articles about it. There's also another YouTube channel that interviewed the developer, and it really is now adding on features that you would expect from decentralized exchanges like Uniswap. So we're moving forward slowly but surely. Things are getting better. The users are being protected, which is obviously the main concern here. Now, we're very early on here, guys, in decentralized finance. So, these things that we may have known about MEV since 2014, thanks to P. McGowan, but it's only now that we're starting to see some efforts being made to combat it. And it's only now that it's started to become a real serious problem for users of protocols in decentralized finance. So there's a lot of great features about Cowswap, and it's a cool user interface as well. I particularly like the fact that the cows moo whenever you make a successful transaction. So they do have a couple of competitors. I think Alchemist DEXs is one of them, and Archer Swap as well from Archer DAO. Right, thanks for joining me today, guys. Very short video today. And again, I just wanted to bring this to your attention because Cowswap could benefit you, could save you some fees. And it's always good to look at new projects, especially new technologies in decentralized finance. Now, we're in a bit of a bear market, some would say at the moment, but it's been a really successful year for crypto, so don't get too down. I know a lot of you, your portfolios will be down a little bit at the moment, but don't worry. I'm sure that going forward, decentralized finance will have a big role to play, and projects like Cowswap will be at the center of development and technology and pushing the boundaries. So fantastic. So thanks for joining me again. Click thumbs up if you like the video. Please subscribe to the channel, helps the channel grow, and comment as well.